Hello, this is Cate Stillman with the Yoga Health Coaching Podcast, also with the Yogahealer Podcast. And I'm doing this series right now over on the Yogahealer show on breaking the stress cycle, partially because I'm sick of just working with people that are totally stressed out and wanting everyone to be healthier. So giving you what I know on stress. And if you've missed any of those episodes, it's on the Yogahealer show. Stress and sleep, stress and digestion, mindset and stress and spiritual growth, stress and yoga. I did those 5 shows. So go over there and listen to those as they're coming out, and I promise that it will help a lot. So this episode is on navigating stress and ambition for wellness pros. So often on the Yoga Health Coaching show, I talk a lot more about wellness pros making more money, wellness pros breaking their income ceilings, wellness pros breaking their impact ceilings. And all of this requires some energy, right? Some ambition, focus, time. And it can create stress. I've gone through cycles in my own career growth where I've simply taken on too many different things, hoping to get to a certain end result. And that's what I'm going to talk about a bit in this episode, is how to navigate stress and ambition, really how to skillfully navigate your ambition so that you only generate the positive stressors rather than the negative stressors. And I talk a lot that positive versus negative in that stress and spirituality podcast. I go very deep into the positive versus negative stressors. So if you missed that, go back and listen to it, because I'm going to assume that you have for this show. And just a quick recap, like negative stress is like any small habits that when you do over time degenerate you, right? Make you age more quickly, cause an early death. And any habits that are positive stressors actually help you build resilience and adaptability. So positive stress exercise is often considered a positive stress. You could even say like eating foods that are fibrous. It creates a positive stress in your digestive tract. Your digestion works more and works more functionally. So positive stress is always going to have an element of increased functionality, whereas negative stressors will always decrease functionality. All right, so let's talk about you and your ambitions. What I'd like you to do is actually get present, embodied presence with your ambitions. So just take a moment and allow yourself to pause and ask yourself. You can ask Dharma if you want, ask life purpose, your purpose as it is appearing now. Like, what are you trying to accomplish in this next phase of your life? In this next chapter of your career? What kind of impact do you want to have in this next chapter of your career? How many lives do you want to affect? How deeply? So just asking the question of ambition, that part of you that is the voice of ambition. It's important in this asking, like if you hear other voices, if you hear voices that are not really yours, that you filter those out. So it's not like what someone else's ambitions for you are. It's really what your ambitions are. I know as someone who's been a business coach for wellness pros, often in the beginning part of that work, I had more ambition for some of my members than they had for themselves. So I had to learn how to drop that, right? So that they could hear their own voice of ambition. So if there's anything like that, of other people's voices, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a teacher, let that go and hear the voice of your own ambition, of your own deeper fulfillment. Another access point for this question is like, what does winning look like to you? Like, what's your unique definition of winning in this next phase of your life? Choosing a 1 year or a 3 year time frame is super helpful. 1 year, bringing things more into immediate focus is also, I find that very, very helpful. So if you ask yourself, like, what will be accomplished in 1 year? What is success for you in 1 year? What will have happened? What competencies? What assets? What skills? What relationships? And get as full a picture that you can of what success looks like. Because ambition is driving towards success. And it's so important that it's on your own terms. My coach is very clear with me when asking, like, what does winning look like for you? First of all, in your life. Second of all, in your work. And for those who are very spiritually attuned, you can ask what success looks like in terms of spirit, in terms of spiritual practice, and how you know you're advancing. So get clear. Ambition shows up in many ways. Many of you are also parents. So what does ambition look like for you? What does success look like for you a year from now in your parenting? Many of you have living parents and you are a son or a daughter. And what does success look like for you as a functional adult in this relationship, in this next phase? So as you get a full sense of ambition, that it's not just about the glass ceiling, although if for those of you who are listening and you're like, nope, it really is. It's really about the glass ceiling, the financial glass ceiling or the time glass ceiling, right? That you want to make more money in less time. Get clear on your numbers. Like what are the numbers? 100K, 25-hour work week? Like you tell me. Like what are the numbers? And it can feel like a pipe dream, but if you keep aiming for it year over year and you promise to get smarter with each quarter, with each season, then you can get there if you're willing to learn all the lessons. All right, so whatever it is, whatever your ambition is, we want to look at this in terms of stress, because if the negative, if we go at our goals in a way that we have the habits that are degenerative, right? The negative stressors, we'll never actually get there, or we'll not get there in the way that we wanted to arrive. So one of those two things will happen. We'll arrive, but we'll be broken, or our relationships will be broken, our health will be broken, something will be broken, our integrity will be broken, right? So we'll only have gotten half of the picture of winning, which is why it's important to take the full picture of winning, the full embodied ambitions, not just in terms of financial ambitions, but also in terms of time, in terms of relationships, in terms of spiritual practice. So a few things now that we are clear on what we want is that there's usually an easier way. Like this is one of my primary focuses as a CEO is there an easier way? I'm constantly looking for the easier way. I'm looking for the Tao. For those of you who study Taoism, like which way is the way, right? Where am I not putting additional obstacles in my path? Now, this is not easy. I would say it's increasingly challenging due to social media, due to digital maximalism versus digital minimalism, right? Like just due to that nature of modern life, due to all of that which is competing for your attention, for your awareness, it's challenging. So if we know that, if you know you're in challenging terrain, you pay more attention. I'm a skier. I'm an expert skier. And when I am on a double black diamond, I pay more attention, right? I don't just like kick back and cruise control, like listening to the tunes and like thinking about something else, right? I'm fully aware, like meditation cushion level of awareness that each little micro movement of my body could have a big consequence on what happens next. So allowing yourself to understand, right, that like we're in a double black diamond sort of phase of modern culture. There's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of distractions that are competing for your attention. And those things will become negative stressors. Those things, if you pay attention to them, will lead to degeneration rather than your goals, rather than regeneration, rather than your goals. When people talk about shiny object syndrome, they make it sound, when I hear that term, they make it sound like it's okay. Like it's not great, right? You don't want to chase after all the shiny objects, but they don't make it sound like it's lethally degenerative to your goals, to your definition of winning. But it is. It is lethally degenerative to your definition of winning. You won't win. And it's hard, right? Because you say you want to double your impact, right? You want to help twice as many people. Say you want to double the depth, double down on the depth that you want to work with people in their healing journeys. Like you want to work twice as deeply with people. Like you want to get twice the results with each person that you're getting. This is something to actually pay a lot of attention to if you feel like that. If you feel like, oh, I really wish I could bring this person way deeper into their healing journey so that they become so much more whole, right? If that's the calling, like for you to really do that, there's so many shiny objects out there that will get in the way, that will cause that dream to degenerate, to die. And we can't have that now, can we? So we need a business model that funnels our ambition, our impact ambition, our income ambition, our relationship ambitions, our time ambitions, our ambitions to have our time to do with what we want. That's one of my key ambitions, is to do whatever I want, whenever I want, right? And to structure my career so that is possible 90% of the time. It's a lot. And it's fun. It's a super fun goal. I'm so in it. It's amazing. Never thought that was possible a few years ago. So if we have a business model that's leading toward shiny object syndrome, right? It's leading to negative stressors, we'll end up with all the symptoms of wired and tired, all the stuff we talk about in all these other episodes of this stress series. And we're the healers, right? So that's horrifically dangerous. If we have a business model that funnels our ambition so that we're just focused on that, we're just focused on exactly the right actions that get us to exactly the results that we want to experience, exactly to winning, and we're super committed to that, we just have the blinders on so that we're not seeing anything else. We're not paying our attention into anything else. We're going to do all right. Yeah, we'll take some blows along the way. We'll learn some deep lessons along the way, but they won't be the lessons of I'm distracted and distraction doesn't work. If you look at, how much time you're putting into what, if you start to time track, there's great apps where you can time track on your phone, exactly like how much time you're spending on your phone. You can do the same thing on your computer, which websites you're going to on your phone, which apps you're using, how much you're using those apps. Very informative. This increases awareness. Where is your awareness going? Is that in line with winning? Now, what I found on the business model side is most people that I talk to, most wellness pros that I talk to, don't know how. They don't know how to get to the end goal. They don't know how to get to winning. They have some ideas of what they think might work. Oh, I could add more classes. I could add more one-on-ones. I could add more retreats. I could add more workshops. But it often doesn't align with what winning actually looks like from a time perspective and from a relationship perspective and from a spiritual development perspective. Just by adding more of everything that you're currently doing, you max out on time. That's not effective. That's not scalable. So we've got to have a business model that fits the whole ambition, right? The holistic nature of your ambition. That always looks like a back end. That always looks like a high ticket item that you're able to enroll to bring people on a deeper healing journey. I feel like I've talked about that in every single podcast. So if you haven't listened to the Yoga Health Coaching podcast, just listen to back episodes because I really do drill down on that, or listen to the financial success webinar at yogahealthcoaching.com/financial-success. If you guys ever can't find something, you can always email help@yogahealer.com and my team will help find it for you because I do mention a lot of past stuff on these shows. All right, so a high ticket item, a healing journey, that's what we do in yoga health coaching. It's basically like, how do you guide people to deeper results at a higher price point? The price point isn't higher because you want to make more money. That price point is higher because in order for you to deliver what you need to deliver on, it's going to require your time, it's going to require your care, and it's going to require your expertise. And that investment is significant. And for you to really care that much and guide that deeply for as long as that might actually take, which in our experience is usually at least a year, it's got to be an investment. Otherwise, you'll care more than the person enrolling. And then it won't work. They won't actually be able to go as deeply on their healing journey if they're not invested. So if you don't have a business model that has that back end, that higher ticket item that includes a journey over time through deep work, it's just, you are the shiny object syndrome on their healing journey. I'm saying that, so it's so cheeky. Oh my gosh, did I really just say that? I think I did. All right, you can write me hate mail on that later. Okay, so once you have a business model that funnels your ambition and you're being the Taoist, right? You're looking for the way. You're looking for the easiest way forward. What will arise is all of the things that you think might help but won't actually help. They're all the distractions. All the shiny objects will come up. Oh, I need to start a Facebook group. Oh, I need to start a podcast. Oh, I need to have 1,000 people on my email list. Oh, I need to post 5 times a day on Instagram. Oh, I need to do this and 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 this. And soon you're in wired and tired. Soon you're in adrenaline addiction. Soon you're in the degenerative pattern yourself. No bueno. So 80-20, Pareto's Principle says that 20% of your actions are creating 80% of your results, which means 80% of your actions are creating 20% of your results, and stop doing that. Stop doing that 80%. If 80% of your time is not generating 80% of your results, it's not working. So this is something I look at constantly. How can I get there in an easier way? Where is my attention going? Where did it go last week? How can I 80-20 last week? What are the 20% of the things that I did last week that are driving 80% of the results in this next month? And this is a spiritual practice. This is the practice of sadhaka pitta. If you pick up BKS Iyengar's book, Light on Yoga, in the first chapters, he talks about the sadhaka. The sadhaka is the self-realized being. It's the one who does the practices to increase awareness, to increase the ability to self-reflect on what's working, on what's aligned, on what is cosmic intelligence, and allowing that to become more and more of the self. That's what the sadhaka does within. In Ayurveda, sadhaka pitta is a function of, it's a subdosha of pitta that controls the mind-heart connection. It's aligned action. Is this action aligned in heart and in mind? Can my mind pay so much attention to my heart that I make good decisions? And this is how 80-20, this is how Pareto's Principle becomes a spiritual practice. When you care so much about the people that you want to guide on a deeper healing journey, that you want to guide a deep transformational life awakening, when you care so much about that, you're willing to examine yourself. Svadhyaya is how the yogis talk about this in the Yoga Sutras. You're willing to self-reflect. You're willing to study and say, okay, in looking back, what I see is this 80% of how I spent my time, can't keep doing that. This 20% of what I did, that had impact. I got to dial that up in the next week, because next week you still have 100% of time, of how you use time. All right. So again, this is crucial in navigating stress for your ambition, for you winning how you want to win. So then questions come up like, how would I effectively use social media? How would I effectively communicate with the people that I want to bring into my high ticket item? And when you ask that question that specifically, and when you're not trying to fill too many things, you're just trying to fill the one thing, and you're trying to reach the people that you most want to have in your one thing, now you can create an effective social media strategy. And when you find yourself too many things, you're back in shiny object syndrome. When you're too many classes to fill, or too many retreats to fill, or just too many privates, or just too many of those things, you won't be able to use social media effectively. And you're actually going to push away the people who are the perfect fit for the high ticket item, for the deep healing journey. If you can start paralleling high ticket item, deep healing journey, and saying that is the same thing, they coexist. They cannot exist independently, right? Then your business model starts to make sense. Then how you use social media starts to make a lot of sense. Then how big your newsletter needs to be starts to make a lot more sense. In yoga health coaching, in the business model, most of our yoga health coaches work with 15 to 50 people a year, 50 on the very high side. I'm on the very high side of yoga health coaches. Most work with around 20 to 30 a year. Impact per year. When you look at that, it gets so specific. How do I want to use social media to attract the 30 right people to work with in the next year? And to start to develop that relationship so that they know me, so that they like what they see, so that we build trust, that they trust my wisdom, they trust how I'm steering their attention, that I'm just not another shiny object in their life. So within all this, there's skills that you need. And this is part of 80-20 of like, what am I taking in and what do I really need to take in? What do I really need to learn next? The more specific you get with that, the more that is aligned to what success looks like for you, the better off you are. And we do a lot of training on time management and on money management so that you can invest your time and your money on energy management, so that you can invest your energy in the ways that help you get closer and closer day by day to winning. In closing, I just want to talk a little bit about what I've heard in my gazillions of interviews with wellness pros on the Yogahealer podcast and on the Yoga Health Coaching podcast, where I've done a lot of dynamic dialogues with other wellness pros and a lot of just, what's sort of in the cultural assumptions around ambition. So certain traditions, particularly the traditions of yoga and Ayurveda, tend to downplay ambition. They downplay ambition from the egomaniac version of it. Like that's like the reason is like, it's really tricky with ambition not to get sucked into an ego type of a path and forget the sense of self, to forget the spiritual practice, the spiritual journey. This gets tricky, right? Especially for those of you who are into breaking income ceilings and doing it year over year. And I'm in that category, right? So I understand this well. Like there's a sense where you can get tied up into the business of the business, where it's all about making more money, or it's all about hitting income targets or revenue targets or whatnot. And what happens is you start to get the sense of like, why do I care about these? Why do I care about these numbers? I really don't worry about that for anyone listening to this show. Like of all the people I've talked to that have come into yoga health coaching over the last, since 2012, right? Over the last, plus all the people I was coaching, when I was running the Yogahealer business course. So for the 5 years preceding that. So it's been a while now. I've really never run into anyone who is in it for the money. If you were in it for the money, you would have become an investment banker, right? Like you wouldn't be trying to wheel and deal in the space of deep healing journeys. So whenever you worry about that, you've got to realize that that's part of like the 80% of how you're using your awareness that's not helping drive your ambition. Trust your desire. Trust your desire to make a great living, to have a lucrative lifestyle. Trust your desire to really help people at the level that other people have helped you on your healing journey as a wellness pro. Trust in that. Put your awareness and your attention into that. And then focus your business model to get results for people. And then learn what you need to learn. Gain the skills, because you will need skills. You will need sales skills. You will need skills to help people invest in themselves to get the results that you can bring them to. All right. That's all I've got to say on stress and ambition for wellness pros for now. Again, this is Cate Stillman with Yoga Health Coaching. If you haven't listened to the whole stress series, you're going to learn a lot. There's a lot of Ayurveda in this yoga and stress series, stress and digestion, stress and spirituality, stress and sleep series that I've just recorded. All right, namaste and have a great day.